A $10,000 reward is being offered for information on the mysterious disappearance of a government scientist. Timothy Cunningham is an epidemiologist at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia. He disappeared more than 2 weeks ago after he left work early saying he felt sick. Omar Villafranca is near Cunningham's home in Atlanta with more on this mystery. Omar, good morning.
Good morning. Timothy Cunningham is a disease detective with the CDC, deploying to public health hotspots to investigate viruses like Zika or Ebola. But no one has heard from him or seen him since February 12th. And now this community is rallying to make sure the man himself is not in danger.
Now you hear the lying police department. This brother was an investigating doctor, scientist for diseases such as the coronavirus, which is the Zika virus. Okay? This brother had the inside tip on what they was doing with this virus, and they offed him. And his death was a warning to us. His death was a warning to us. Okay? That's what it was. Again, we say LAIWALAM SHABAT. LAIWALAM SHABAT, Dr. Timothy Cunningham, Hebrew Israelite. All right? LAIWALAM SHABAT, eternal rest.
Investigators returned to the woods around Timothy Cunningham's house Monday, searching for more clues.
I'm not so sure what else we can do with that area.
His family found his wallet, his car, even his beloved dog, all left behind in his Atlanta home.
Timothy has been unaccounted for since the 12th.
Cunningham's father, Terrell, drove from Maryland to Georgia after not hearing from his son for 2 days. His parents and other family members have been putting up missing posters throughout Cunningham's neighborhood, and they're trying to get the word out about his disappearance through the media.
He has such a history of being so responsible and dependable that I think that is what puts us all in at such disbelief.
Cunningham graduated from Morehouse College and earned advanced degrees from Harvard. The 35-year-old CDC scientist reportedly lived alone. His next-door neighbor, Viviana Torrey, says Cunningham said something odd to her husband the day he disappeared.
He told my husband to tell his wife, me, to erase his cell phone number from my cell phone.
Police do not suspect foul play, but they also say they're exploring all possibilities. Cunningham's family is pleading for the public's help.
If anyone sees anything that relates to or think you have seen Timothy, please call the number.
The CDC released a statement. I want to read it to you. They said, Dr. Cunningham's colleagues and friends at the CDC hope that he is safe. We want him to return to his loved ones and his work protecting people's health. Nora?
Omar, thank you. That is quite a mystery. I hope they find him.
I do too. It's such a cryptic message. It seems to indicate he knew he was leaving. Whether it was on his own or not is a question. Very scary story for his family.
Yeah, we'll follow up on it.
The little bird, its name was Enza. I opened the window and influenza.
Pay close attention. You want to know why he's dead? Because 2 years ago, almost to the date, he already had the details on COVID-19, Wuhan, coronavirus. And yeah, they used it to off him too. Pay attention.
Good afternoon. Is everyone ready? Okay, so my name is Major Michael O'Connor. O'Connor spelled O''Connor. And I'm here to provide an update in reference to the missing person, Dr. Timothy Cunningham. So real quick, we'll go over the events on that Monday, February 12th, and kind of give you an idea of where we stood at the end of that day and then what investigative steps we've taken. And then I anticipate you will have a few questions and we'll take those at the end. So Dr. Cunningham is an epidemiologist in the chronic disease unit at the CDC. He last reported to work on Monday, February 12th. While on his way to work at about approximately 07:15, he calls his sister and speaks to her briefly. He arrives at work, and when he arrives at work, he meets with his supervisor, And the purpose of that meeting was to explain a promotion that he did not receive to branch manager. He had been informed the previous Monday that he was not getting the promotion, but the explanation occurred on the morning of the 12th. Shortly after the meeting explaining that, he tells the supervisor that he's not feeling particularly well. He had actually called in sick the 2 previous work days and decides to go home. While going home, the last known phone call that he makes occurs at 09:12 hours, and he calls his mother while traveling home from the CDC, we believe. The call is missed. She does not receive a call, and he does not leave a voicemail. We presume, and I'll explain why we presume, that he drives home from the CDC and his car is parked in the garage at his residence. That's the last time anybody sees or hears from him, is basically at that point. His family tries over a period of time to call him. They don't receive any answer. They then call a relative of the mother's who has a key to the home who goes by to check on the house. He comes over, he finds the house has been secured, but there are 2 upstairs bedroom or windows that are open, one to a bathroom and one to a laundry room. But they were on the upper level, and it appeared as if everything else was in order, and the windows may have been left open because he had a dog that was inside of the residence. The relative reports that to the parents. They obviously become somewhat concerned because now they haven't heard from him, and they decide to make the drive at some point Tuesday afternoon or evening down from Maryland. They arrive approximately at 07:30 hours in the morning of the 14th, which is the Wednesday, and by 09:30 they have dialed 911 to report Dr. Cunningham missing.
Before I continue, let's say LAIWALAM SHABAT for Dr. Cunningham, a Hebrew Israelite. LAIWALAM SHABAT means eternal rest. Now that brother went to his grave. They said he drowned, but the CDC poisoned him. These cats are all lying, man. He was a CDC scientist, doctor, a Harvard graduate, okay, with high accolades. He knew that this disease, this virus, he knew this contagion was about to hit the street, y'all. And they took him out. CDC is lying. All this, Atlanta and Georgia, y'all better keep your eyes out down there. I got family down there. You better be careful with the waterways and stuff. With this big wave of virus that's going on. All right, there's a lot of nonsense going on down there. There's some lying going on. And now you're starting to close the door on the suspicious activity. So you see, Dr. Cunningham, he had the inside tip on all of this stuff that's going down. Okay? He was the whistleblower. He was the guy. Don't forget, this guy went missing. All of his personals, everything, and his business materials, including his dog, everything was left 1,000% intact. Okay, this is government movement. They'll take you out of here and leave all your stuff intact and make it seem like it's the most suspicious activity that's ever taken place. This guy is telling a big lie, and that guy, Dr. Cunningham, put this information out, blew this whole thing up, and they covered it up. And now it's uncovered. It's out of control. They can't do nothing about it. Okay? Good looking out for Dr. Cunningham, right?
The most unusual factor in this case is that every single belonging that we are aware of was located in the residence. So his keys, his cell phone, credit cards, debit cards, wallet, all his identification, passports, anything you could think of, we've been able to locate. None of those items are missing. So what have we done from that point forward? Well, obviously we created immediate BOLO and we released that information to you that he was a missing person. We've processed his home. We've canvassed the neighborhood. We've searched the immediate wooded area around his house with a dog. We've checked local hospitals and jails. We searched the cemetery crest lawn, which is nearby his home. We've gotten with the CDC and we've gone through and made sure that his government credit cards aren't being used. We've looked at the browser history on his desktop computer at work to make sure there's nothing suspicious on it. We've checked his swipe card activity. We know the last time he clocked in or out at the CDC. We've gone through his government phone records to ensure that that phone's not in use, and we've been provided some access to his email so we know that nothing suspicious went back and forth on it.
You hear what he's saying, right? And look at his eyes. Look at how he's looking around, because he's being very, very cautious. Okay? There's a lot of hidden agenda that's taking place on that. All right? Don't be fooled. This is not a fool's game right now. All right? I'm putting this out, setting this alarm for each and every one of you, our people. Okay? Beware. Ask questions. Don't just go sit up in the doctor's office and let them poke and prod on you and give you all kinds of tests and stuff, and digging all in your body, and you don't ask any questions. You got to say something. You got to bring these physicians to the table and say, hey, what is that? What are these ingredients? What's going on here? I want to know all the details before we make the next procedure. Yeah, I know I'm sick or whatever, but I'm not just going to take your word for it. I want to know for sure what I'm involved in. This Dr. Cunningham, he found out that there was setting off this disease. They was setting off this virus, and they offed it. They got rid of him. Okay? And this guy right here, he said they are the ones that made the media. They created the media about it. Okay? So, don't sleep. There's a lot of stuff going on while we're sitting behind our doors at home. There's a lot of stuff going on here in this government that is being done to make sure you'll never find out what took place, why this situation, this spike, or this pause in life came about. And they're using this virus as part of it.
We also conducted a flyover of the immediate neighborhood with a helicopter. We have some additional steps that we intend to take this week. We'll probably re-canvass his house neighborhood in the wooded area. We may go through there with an additional team of dogs, and we continue to follow up on the numerous Crime Stopper tips and other tips that have come in. That concludes my statement, and I'll be happy to take your questions.
So at this point, do you believe he's still alive and just out somewhere?
Well, we're open to any and all possibilities at this time. We haven't been able to rule anything out one way or the other. So it's possible he's out there.
But there's no evidence of any foul play?
There is none. There's no evidence suggesting anything.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on his work history? Have there been any internal issues with him in the CDC in the past, anything that's on the radar?
We asked specifically whether the CDC felt that anything related to his job would have contributed to this, and they did not believe so. They did note that he had been up for this promotion, which he did not receive. And obviously, I think any of us would agree that if you didn't receive a promotion you thought you might get, you're somewhat disappointed. But beyond that, we don't have any information that his employment would lead to his being missing.
That's a lie as well. Anyone that graduates from Harvard School of Medicine, who is a doctor, okay, that graduates from Harvard University, you don't get a job promotion. It doesn't matter. You can go anywhere you want in the world and make 200 grand, 500 grand. You have a degree from Harvard, the most elite university in this country. You have a medical degree from Harvard. You think he was whining about that? Yeah, right. Get out of here with that.
His parents said he had some personal issues. Can you elaborate on it at all?
No.
His parents also said he was having problems at work to me.
The only thing that we have is this missed promotion. We've talked to several of his coworkers, and they indicated that obviously he was disappointed about this promotion, but we don't have any other indicators that lead like there was some sort of distress at work.
What, if anything, did he tell a neighbor about erasing his number from her phone contact list? Do you have any information about that?
I don't have the specifics of that information, but we have talked to that neighbor, yes.
And what do you make of it?
Is that true? Did that happen?
It did happen, yes.
There's some pretty wild conspiracy theories floating around social media.
Right.
Are you aware of them, and can you just respond to
So we're very aware of the conspiracy theories, and one of the things that we were sort of asked to emphasize, certainly by the CDC, especially in reference to some of the rumors, is that Dr. Cunningham worked in the chronic disease unit, which is not the infectious disease unit. He had no access to classified material. He would not be the type of person that, if you kidnapped him and held him, he could give you access to some horrific virus that could be a real problem for all of the rest of us. He wasn't one of those people that works at the CDC. He didn't work in that unit. So
that's another lie. You can look at this guy's expression and hear the tone of his voice. He is lying. Okay? Dr. Cunningham was a Harvard graduate. Okay? He could have done any of that body of work, whether it's chronic disease or infectious disease. All right? A disease is a disease. Okay? This is not accurate information. And now with this COVID-19, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist. You can close the door on what they did to this brother, because he was the one that was blowing that whistle. Okay? The scripture clearly says that for the namesake of Yahushua HaMashiach, that our ancestors, our people, we would be persecuted and also killed by this Gentile heathen beast system because of the namesake of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's continue.
they don't believe that his employment would be cause for something like that to occur, because he simply doesn't have access to those types of things. Now, specifically what chronic disease means, you would have to ask the CDC. Obviously, I'm not a doctor.
Does the cell phone that was left behind indicate anything?
The cell phone that was left behind indicates nothing other than what I provided to you here. We know when the last phone call was made from it. We attempted to make several calls, which now register in the records to it. There's a number of calls from his parents, but all of the last outgoing phone call made from that phone occurred at 0912, and the call was made to his mother. It'll last somewhat over 20 seconds. When we asked her, she was at the gym. She missed the call, and the call actually didn't show up in her missed call registry. So we know Verizon shows that it went out, but it may not have hit her phone in Maryland.
His parents said that he would have never left his dog WUHAN, but you just mentioned a minute ago that 2 bedroom windows were open upstairs. The dog couldn't but jump out of a second-story window to go to the bathroom. So can you explain this discrepancy?
There is a lot that I cannot simply explain. This is an extremely unusual set of circumstances. It is not common in missing person cases for us to find someone's entire belongings, their debit cards, their credit cards, their cell phones. We deal with missing person cases fairly regularly here. The circumstances of this one, just beyond the fact that he's a CDC employee, but just as a general person, are unusual in that everything that you would need to sustain yourself is at his home. So there's no real explanation for that. We don't have any clues as that goes, because we don't have any information going one way or the other about exactly what happened.
Is there any security cameras from CDC and at the house that can actually track when he left? Did he ever go back to the home?
CDC is checking cameras now because we wanted to confirm that it was him that gets into his vehicle and drives home. They're not certain that they have cameras that cover the parking deck, but they're checking that for us again now. Beyond that, we have people who actually saw him in the building. He talked to his supervisor. We have him swiping in and out at the building. So, I mean, we have no doubt that he was there that morning and that he told the people that he was leaving.
And when he said he was sick, what does that mean? He had a headache, he was throwing up?
He just said I don't have anything more specific beyond he told people that he was not feeling well and that he asked to leave. Now, he had not gone to work the previous Thursday and Friday, and he had said at that time that he was not feeling well at all. He had called in sick. So he had worked on the 5th when he's first notified.
That's because they had injected him with that coronavirus. Okay? That's why he was sick. That's why he couldn't do what he was supposed to do with work. That's the reason why he had the same symptoms that people have right now, and he ended up in the river. Okay? This is why. He was putting out the warning. He found out what they was up to, whistleblowing, and now you have this issue on hand right now. Okay? LAIWALAM, Ruach HaKodesh, Holy Spirit, revealed to me. Remember him? Just popped up in my spirit. You remember him? You remember him? I want you to go and look at the brother, the Israelite brother the doctor from the CDC, whose body was missing. They found him in the river. All his merchandise, all his belongings in his house. Nothing disturbed. I want you to go and pull that up and put that out there, because he was the one that was setting the warning 2 years ago to the date. Okay? This ain't no conspiracy theory. This is fact, y'all. This is the fact. Pay attention. Pay attention. Watch how this guy's expressions are. Okay? He's very, very, very crafty in his words. They actually prepped him. All right? This cop, they prepped him and gave him detailed content on how to rebuttal and how to put this information out there, so you would not be able to pick this apart. But you have to be led by the Holy Spirit to bust this open and see there's more to what was done back then. This guy was opening up the door, setting a warning back then. All right? And his death should be a warning to you right now. Okay? It should be a celebration for you right now, that you're able to say, you know what? This brother, all right, he gave up his life. All right? He gave up his life, lost his life for the namesake, all right? The namesake of the children of Israel. He's one of them. All right? He's one of them. He's a Hebrew Israelite brother, and he lost his life for the sake of calling this out, putting out the warning. And now who are they constantly putting in the media as dying? First and foremost, died first. Negroes, Hebrew Israelites. They're the ones that are getting sick with the coronavirus and dying. There's more of them. 40% of the population. 40% of the deaths are Negroes. Okay? Hebrew Israelites. This brother was putting this out. He was on it, and they took him out of here. Okay? CDC need to be held accountable for that.
That the promotion that he was expecting wasn't coming. He shows up on the Tuesday and the Wednesday. Then that Thursday and Friday, he calls in sick. He goes through the weekend. He reports back to the CDC on Monday morning. At this time, an explanation of why the promotion didn't occur is provided to him. He says he's not feeling well at that point. He leaves the CDC. We're pretty certain of that. And then he's gone. Not that we are aware of.
Was he in a relationship? Did he have friends that you talked to who could shed any light?
We have not found someone who says that they were in a relationship with him, but we have talked to a number of his friends and associates.
And their last period of the mother is at what time?
0912.
In the morning?
Yes. 9:12 in the morning.
Have there been
Yes.
periods
Go
of
ahead.
time when he hasn't come to work for a few days and not called in?
You know, I have not asked that question. I don't believe so. The detective who's handling the case is saying no.
And also, I know the police report says his family says there's no history of mental illness. Are you looking into that still, just to make sure that that's not something part of his history?
Yeah, so to be as clear as possible, we're looking at everything currently. So we're looking at every potential avenue that...
Watch his eyes. He keep looking off to the side, getting his variables in place, whether or not he's saying or responding the right way. Look at him. Look at his eyes.
We've looked at all of his banking accounts. There's been no activity.
And what about his car? Did he drive his personal car to work that day, and then the personal car is still in the driveway?
The personal car's in the garage, but yes.
So he did come home after work?
Well, there's some speculation involved in that, because I don't have...
You see, he keeps doing it. He keeps looking, favoring off to that side, getting verification whether or not to respond.
That happened, that he did it. The presumption is he made a phone call from his cell phone after he told people he was leaving, and his car arrives home. So the presumption is he was the person who got into his vehicle and drove home.
Have you checked with Uber and Lyft just to make sure?
Yes, we've checked with everybody. And we don't have any record of that.
That neighbor that he spoke to, that's the day before.
Okay.
That's a male neighbor saying, have your wife take my number out of her cell phone? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
That sounds a little...
You saw his eyes?
What does that say to you?
I actually don't have all the specifics to that.
'Cause y'all lying.
With what you're explaining, it obviously
That was a lie.
But I'll go back and follow up on the information related to that specific incident as soon as this is over with. As far as having more information than what you've just provided, I don't have it. I can confirm that did occur.
That brother knew they poisoned him.
Take me out of your phone, or is that the only one you're familiar with?
That's the only one we're familiar with.
His father has said that he is genius level, obviously a master's and a PhD from Harvard University. He also mentioned that that creates a very high stress level. Have you been able to go back and evaluate his college, his undergrad, master's, PhD, like a psychological profile? I would presume that the CDC, when you're hired as a government employee, you undergo all that kind of testing. Have you been able to look at those records?
I mean, we haven't done anything like what you just described. Obviously, we're aware of what the institutions he graduated from, that he's extremely bright. You know, but as far as creating a psychological profile of him, no, we haven't done that.
Do you know why?
You see, they know this brother was a genius. He knew exactly what was going on. They have him registered in Harvard University, in the Harvard University School of Medicine with a PhD as being at the genius level. Genius level. So there's no way in the world you're gonna just off this brother like that, and it's not because he's sitting out a warning to try and stop something that's very dangerous.
No, we do not. We didn't even ask specifically why not. We just wanted to know what the circumstances were surrounding his last day, and that was the information that we were provided.
Did the supervisor tell you what his demeanor was like upon learning he wasn't getting the promotion?
Well, I think that it was pretty consistent that he was definitely upset. He told several coworkers that he was and that he was expecting this promotion. So we don't have any doubt that he was upset that he didn't receive the promotion. But the question we did ask the CDC specifically is, do you believe anything related to his employment contributed to him being missing? And beyond not receiving this promotion, there was nothing else that they have indicated to us. And we've been in contact with it. We've talked to them several times today. So we're having no problem getting cooperation from the CDC, and they've been very forthcoming and helpful with everything we've requested. So to this point, we have no reason to believe that his employment at the CDC has any bearing on the fact that he is missing, beyond the fact that it makes the case interesting out in the public.
But when someone is an overachiever who's at a Harvard level and they get that kind of a blow to their whole psyche, oh, you're not getting promoted to lieutenant or whatever the rank is, do you think this guy could have committed suicide?
I'll go back to my previous statement that said that we are looking at every available possibility and we've ruled nothing out.
Guys, one or two more questions.
So what do you do now? Like, what is your next step? Because you don't believe foul play is involved, so how do you continue this investigation?
I think you're mischaracterizing what I've said. I never said that we don't believe foul play is involved.
Nothing is showing that.
There you go. Well, we just simply have no evidence to show that foul play is involved. We haven't ruled that out as a possibility. What are the next steps? We're going to do the canvas that I explained to you. And we have approximately 22 to 25 tips, either through Crime Stoppers or through people just emailing or calling us, that we need to sort through. We're eliminating those as we go, but we still have ones to work on. We'll continue to follow that up. We have near unprecedented media coverage for a missing person in the city. So we are hoping that this level of media coverage will generate further tips or information that will help us find Dr. Cunningham. And that's really what we're hoping for here.
Was he under investigation by any agency that you're aware of?
None that we're aware of.
When is your canvas?
We're trying to coordinate that with a dog team, so as soon as we can get that done, we'll do it.
Okay, guys, thank you.
His remarks made by his family, obviously grief-stricken family right now, are they helping or hurting this case? Because there seems to be a little bit of misinformation out there.
Well, I think, they're doing the very best that they can. This has got to be very traumatic for them. I would never say that they're not helping our case unless they were actively working against us, and they're not doing that. Thank you.